Hey everybody, this is Mr. Palacios calling, and I'm just going to walk you through today solving quadratic equations by using square roots. Now, I know we've already talked about factoring, we've talked about substitution, we've talked about finding the vertex. We've done a lot. And in this one, I'm just going to walk you through how to take a quadratic equation and find the square roots to find the answer. Now, note, you're going to have to use all of these different tools, all these different methods at different times. So when you see a problem structured a certain way, when you see a quadratic equation structured with the way that you're going to learn today, that's when you know, okay, that's when I need to factor, or that's when I need to use square roots. When you see another one and you can factor it, that's when you're going to learn how to factor. So just look at the structure of the quadratic equation, and that's going to determine how you solve it. So today we'll be looking at square roots. Okay, so if we start with number one really quickly, what you need to know about using square roots is that every square root, every positive number has two square roots. So let's take 16 as an example, and we'll use it a couple times throughout these problems today. But if you take 16 as an example, as I have written here, if 16 equals x squared, well, if you take the square root of 16 and the square root of x squared, you're going to get positive 4, and you're also going to get negative 4. Why? Well, that's because 4 squared is 16, and negative 4 squared is 16. Okay, so just know that if you are looking for square roots, you're going to get two answers for that. Okay, so let's look at how we do this. If you look at number 2, you have 2x squared minus 7 equals 9. So what we want to do is add 7 to both sides. Why? Because we want to get x by itself. We're trying to solve for x here. And when you do that, you get 2x squared equals 16. Well, you need to divide by 2 because we want to get that x squared. And you want to divide this side by 2 as well. And so you get x squared equals 8. So take the square root of x squared, take the square root of 8, and we simplify that square root. And in order to simplify, you take that number that you're looking for and you just do factors. So 8 is really a factor of 2 and 4. And you can factor 4 as well. 4 is a factor of 2 times 2. And since you have a pair of 2's right here, you can put it right outside that square root. And so the square root of 8 equals 2 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 2. Okay, that's that extra 2 right there. Okay, we can go into more detail about this later, or you can look up how to simplify square roots, but in essence, that's how you do it. You just factor the number, and then that pair that comes out, that's going to go on the outside of your square root, and then whatever is left over is going to go on the inside. All right, so the square root of 8 is plus or minus 2 to the square root of 2, and so x equals plus or minus 2 times the square root of 2. All right, let's go to number 3. Here we have something that's a little bit more familiar. Negative 3 times x minus 6 squared plus 19 equals 7. So we want to put all the constants on one side and keep all the variables on the other. So we're going to subtract 19 here and then subtract 19 on this side as well. And so that gives us 3 times x minus 6 squared equals negative 12. And now we need to solve for x. In order to do that, let's get rid of this 3. Divide by negative 3 here, divide by negative 3 here, and what we get is x minus 6 squared equals 4. So we took the square root of x minus 6 squared and the square root of 4. What we get is x minus 6 equals plus or minus the square root of 4, which is 2, right? So if we do that, then we have x. So we have two possibilities here, right? Because if we have a positive 4, a positive 2, or a negative 2, that changes everything. And so let's go on this side. We have x minus 6 equals 2, positive 2. And on this side, we have x minus 6 equals negative 2. So we're going to add 6 to both sides on this side. And what we're going to do is, what we're going to get is x equals 8. Do the same thing here. We're going to add 6 to both sides, and on this one, when x is negative 2, or sorry, when we have negative 2, x is equal to 4. Okay? Go through that a couple times just to make sure that you get it, but we're looking for square roots here. Okay, now, this one's going to be a little bit more challenging for number 4. I'm going to encourage you to use your calculators if you can for most of these, because it's just going to make your life easier. But here we go. So we have negative 16x squared plus 10 equals 4. So you subtract 10 from both sides. You want to get all the variables on one side and get all the variables on one side and the constants on the other. And so we're doing that. We have negative 16x equals negative 6. And then we're going to divide both sides by negative 16. And when we do that, we get 0.375. That's what x squared is equal to. X squared is equal to 0.375. So let's take the square root of x squared and the square root of 0.375, and we find, using our calculator, that x equals plus or minus 0.6. Okay, and that's about it. Made it just under the 6-minute mark. Rewatch as you need to, and check out what's posted on your assignment today. Okay, ciao.